here at Mitty High with basketball standout Haley Jones. Haley, welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, congrats. Just recently named #1 player of the class of 2019 for Hoop Girls ESPN. How did you find out? What was your reaction?
I found out just on a normal morning heading to school, and my friend texted me and was saying congratulations, and I was confused in reference to what that was. So I looked online, and then I saw that I was #1, and I don't know, it was just a rush of joy, and then just went on my normal school day. Forgot to tell my parents before I left the house, so had to call them on the way to school, and they were proud, and it was just a great moment.
That's awesome. Now, I think you're #1 in several of them, actually.
Yeah.
So did this one feel any different?
No, I mean, every recognition is a great honor, but I try not to pay too much attention to that.
Yeah. Now, you started playing basketball at what age?
Probably like 4 or 5.
Yeah, both.
I just grew up in the gym, my parents both being high school coaches.
Did you ever envision the success you've had thus far at that point?
Oh, definitely not. No. I mean, when I was just little and I was playing with all the older girls, I didn't think that I was much of a standout just because I blended in. And then as I grew older, I don't know, I just started working more with my parents and all my coaches, and then my mom told me, you could really make something out of this. So then I started to really put all of my time into it.
That's awesome. Now, you could play every position on the court. Which one do you enjoy the most?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I just enjoy being able to play every position, and I think it's kind of easy. I think that on any team, if you can play the most positions, it's easier to get play time because you can fill in any role.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think it's just my favorite, being able to play everything wherever the coach needs me.
That's awesome. You recently narrowed your list of potential universities to 5.
Yes.
And you announced that on Twitter.
Yes.
When do you plan on making a formal announcement, and how?
Well, my last visit isn't until, I think, November 11th or so, and then the first signing period begins on November 14th. So hopefully around that time, I'll have a decision made. And I've talked to ESPN about releasing it with them, and then I'll probably just release it on Twitter, and I'll tell my family and friends first before I put it out there.
That's awesome. So how many official visits have you taken, and how are they going in terms of, and how do you narrow your list to your top 5? Was there anything in common?
My first official visit is actually this weekend to Notre Dame, so I'm looking forward to starting that whole process. I think narrowing down the list was definitely hard because I created so many relationships with different coaches, but I think it was helpful just to be able to talk to them, and to come in for home visits really helped a lot because I got to learn about their school and what they have to offer and what their values are, and just seeing the connection that I have with the coaches.
That was a pretty cool situation too. On Twitter, you posted with visits from Gino and Tara and everyone. What was that like, getting all these big name coaches rolling through your house, rolling through the hood in Santa Cruz?
I mean, it's just such an honor every time any coach comes to visit, because I don't know, it's just seems like a payoff to all the hard work that I've done, and my family's helped me get to that point. So I think it's just an honor to have any coach come in. Nice.
And then during the whole recruiting process, what's it been like for you? Has it been stressful? I mean, has it been fun, exciting, draining? I mean, to get just scheduling for this stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a really fun process. I think near the beginning, it's just kind of when the coaches ask you questions, you're not expected to have answers yet for them. You can just kind of be like, oh, I'm so excited about the process. But as you start to get older, you have to come up with more answers, and you really got to figure out what you want. So it becomes stressful, but it's still fun, and it's just always an honor to be recruited and have these types of opportunities.
What was that like? I don't know if initially, I mean, we've had some in Santa Cruz County, some highly recruited individuals, and they get letters of interest by the hundreds. What was your situation like? Did they kind of go through your head coach, Sue Phillips, or did they come straight to you? And do you have a binder full of these letters of interest, and are they framed, or what do you do with them,
Yeah, so I wasn't allowed to. Okay, so I'm allowed to call the college coaches, but when I was younger, everything had to go through Coach Phillips and my parents, or just kind of like a third party. So I could call them, but if they missed the call, they couldn't call me back, or they couldn't text me, reschedule. Everything had to go through Coach Phillips. So I'm very thankful for her being able to go through all of that for me. And she's done that for many other players that have come through Mitty. And at the beginning, September of last year, they were finally able to call and text me. So it's been a lot easier process in that sense since then.
Did you save all the letters though, obviously?
Yeah, so I've saved every letter, no matter the school, and I've always filled out all the questionnaires, and I have a file cabinet
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah.
And so like when I narrowed it down to my final 9 schools for home visits, I gave them each their own file, but then otherwise it's all alphabetically organized.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Save that for posterity, you know,
For
just
sure.
to reflect on all that interest. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about your experience of playing in Croatia in July. What was that like? And get into through the tryout process and the selection and the trip and the plane flight. How's that?
So going to, playing for USA was an amazing experience. I mean, we did the tryout in May, and then we got to come home from June, and then we went back out on the 4th of July. And we had training camp for about 2 weeks in Colorado Springs at the Olympic Center. And then we traveled to DC and played a few just warm-up games against like some college kids out there. And then we flew to Latvia for a warm-up tournament where we played China, Latvia, and Canada, which was just so much fun. And then we went to Belarus for the World Championships, and that was just an amazing experience. I mean, it was very draining with going just for a month straight of double, triple days, and then when we're in Belarus, the training doesn't stop. On the off days between different rounds of the tournaments, we had double days of practice, but it was just an amazing experience to get to be there and represent your country, and staying at the hotel with all the other girls from all different countries. Got to make relationships, you know, get Snapchats, get phone numbers, and just kind of get to immerse yourself in the culture of both Belarus and the girls from the other countries and get to see how they do things. Yeah. So that was amazing. And then ultimately winning gold was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. And you were named to that all-star team as well. Yeah, that was, I don't know how to explain that. I mean, I don't think anybody on the team expected to be named to that or get MVP. So that was just an amazing experience. Just like, I don't know, after we won the game, we lined up for the medal ceremony, and then they came and they picked us out, and they were looking for Jordan Horston, who ended up winning MVP, and I was like, oh, she's over there, and I like turned away, and then they're like, oh, we need you too, and I was confused on why they wanted me to go as well. So that was just amazing. That was awesome. Well, you know, that whole process, well, I mean, the tournament itself was about 2 weeks. Can you describe through the whole process of that yourself? Did you feel like you've developed in some capacity during that whole situation? Yeah, I think just the whole month of training with the 12 girls was amazing, and it really pushed me to, I think, the next level, because it's the 12 best girls in the nation in the eyes of USA Basketball. So every day was a competition. There wasn't a drop off, and it was all healthy competition. Like, you're trying to compete for more playing time or for a starting position, but at the same time, you all have the same goal to bring a gold medal back for the US. So I think it was just pushing each other, and I think that made me a lot better and all the other girls. Nice. And then was that your first time out of the country? Yes, it was. So that whole experience with passports was pretty insane, but that was fun to experience it with all the other girls. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Haley, why don't you stand up and show everyone how tall you are? Oh. There you go. There you go. I'm 5'10" myself, and there you are. You're legit on the roster. Awesome. Haley, thanks so much for your time. Thank you. Okay.